So here's going to be a YouTube video by Brad Carr. Full disclosure, I have no idea who this guy is, but he's got like 45,000 subscribers on YouTube. Absolutely go subscribe to this guy. Again, I have never seen these before, but I am excited to learn about it. This is 7 reasons why Mexico will bring war to the United States of America.
In this episode, we will cover Peter Zeihan's 7 reasons that Mexico could bring a war to the United States of America based on my interviews with Peter Zeihan, his first book,
I
The
wonder who
Accidental
this Peter
Superpower,
Zeihan is.
and his updated edition, The Accidental Superpower 10 Years On. Reason number 1 is failed geography. From Zeihan's point of view,
So I imagine this guy is going to say that Mexico is some emergent superpower, which it totally could be, unless it becomes one of the states of the United States, which it absolutely should be.
every nation is defined by its geography. And, as discussed in the episode on Canada, often the most useful geographic features are rivers. Unfortunately for Mexico, the country lacks navigable rivers. So Mexico is playing a difficult hand from the start. Additionally, much of the
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, rivers are super important. The U.S., I don't know if I've covered this in like another one of my streams or one of like the videos that I put on YouTube and Rumble and stuff. Definitely go and follow me there and subscribe. And definitely go to X and follow me there because I make based opinions on the internet and I don't care what people think about me. And yeah, I'm just a good time. I'm fun to be around. Anyway, this guy seems like he's probably going to be pretty pro-Mexican, or maybe this Peter Zeihan guy, because it's who he's talking about. I forgot where I was going with this.
country is hot jungle. So hot that it takes a toll on roads and other.
Oh, right, yeah. So, no, rivers are super important, especially for like internal, like domestic trade, especially here in the United States, because we have a vast river system, particularly in like the South and the eastern region, somewhere around the Mississippi. A lot of those rivers are used on a daily basis for transporting like goods and materials for like farms and things like that. We have barges that go in and out of like the Ohio and the Mississippi and the Tennessee rivers and stuff. So yeah, no, they're still used pretty widely for trade, even though we also have like trucks and planes and stuff like that. And I would imagine other countries use it the same way, particularly countries that aren't quite as built up infrastructurally as the United States is.
Infrastructure that might be used to offset the lack of rivers. The solution is to go up in altitude and set population centers at high elevation with cooler temperatures. And Mexico has mountains to do this, but that can create new problems. These mountain cities are not complemented by rich lowlands, so there isn't incentive to extend the infrastructure past the necessities for these population centers. Therefore, building things like highways is an enormous undertaking, a high-maintenance project in the Mexican heat, and devoid of opportunity to benefit from the network effects of an interconnected system like the American interstate system. Moving things through Mexico must be done over and around mountains, using limited infrastructure that is under stress from the heat.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Mexico could benefit from becoming a part of the United States, okay? We would go in and we would build this infrastructure for you, okay? Now, we'd have to change some of your laws and, you know, arrest some of the people that are in charge because they're just part of the cartels. But, you know, we could do this. This could be good for Mexico. I'm just saying. Like, and you'd be allowed to keep your culture and, like, any religion that you want to. That's fine. Unless your culture includes raping women and then get the fuck out of here, right? But, you know, that's illegal, so you'll just get thrown in jail. So it's you know, give and take, right? You can wear your clothes and celebrate your holidays and shit, but, you know, can't marry 6-year-olds.
All without a system of rivers. In the face of poor geography, Mexico has been able to avoid oblivion, which leads us to the second reason, the Four Horsemen.
The what? Oh, boy.
Despite its geography,
I didn't expect
Mexico has managed to find ways to turn weaknesses into attractive features for partnership with the United States. The features that will continue to connect Mexico to the U.S. are as follows. 1. Labor costs. Zeihan writes that from 2002 to 2014, Chinese labor costs increased by a factor of 6, and compared to China, Mexico is dramatically more accessible for transport to the U.S. So there is a
Yeah, that's why we have so many damn illegal immigrants here, right? Because, like, Mexico can just... Well, people can come over from Mexico because there largely was, like, no barrier whatsoever. It was just vast, like, open sloughs of desert. But yeah, people would come over here and then they would just get paid cash to do shit. Like, and oftentimes it's a pretty low amount because, well, what are you going to do? Complain?
case for labor cost-driven movement of business from China
But also, they have to send most of their money back, like back home to Mexico, back to their families, because they're paying off the cartels who smuggled them in here. So it's kind of, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, right? They're just trying to do good for their families, but ultimately they're here illegally. They're a drain on the U.S. taxpayer. And if Mexico were to become part of the United States, they wouldn't be any of that anymore. I'm just saying, this is something that we should do. And I know that Mexico's got a lot of natural resources too.
To Mexico. 2. Shale and electricity. The surplus of American shale natural gas is always looking for a market. The opportunity to support businesses in Mexico by exporting American natural gas to generate electricity creates a virtuous cycle. Mexico gets natural gas for reliable electricity. Electricity supports industry in Mexico, and strong industry demands more natural gas for reliable electricity.
Okay.
Horseman number 3
I'm
is
following.
demography. At the time of publication, the Accidental Superpowers Mexican demography chart was a beautiful pyramid. Their population stacked up for sustained consumption-led growth and foreign direct investment-led growth. Horseman number 4 is the drug war.
Yeah.
It's strange that
I would argue that the majority of Mexico's money comes from the American from the drug cartels, selling their drugs to the American people. Like I would argue that's the majority of where their money comes from, because we know the cartels actively run the government in Mexico City.
drug war may be helping Mexico's economy.
Trump is literally bombing fucking people right outside of Mexico right now because they keep trying to send drugs to the United States.
This economy thrives when labor costs are low, and Zion claims that the violence of the drug war has actually kept labor costs down, making the economics of Mexican-American integration very attractive. And this connection to the U.S. makes Mexico attractive for foreign direct investment. This is the bizarre reality of the Mexican drug war and the global incentive to keep this war going. Reason number 3 is...
Yeah, so Mexico, much like Palestine and Ukraine, exists mostly as a state where we can have our wars, right? That's the ground where we do our fighting on. Let's stop that bullshit. Let's just make Mexico part of the United States, and all of their lives will get much, much better. Ours too, honestly, because whenever we... Because, you know, Americans don't vacation overseas, right? So we would be able to we would be able to drive from New York City all the way down to Cancun, man. Let's do it. Look, I want all the way, and when I say Mexico, I don't mean just Mexico, because I want it all the way to the Panama Canal. All of it. We already own the Panama Canal. We might as well, right? Let's just get down there. We'll take all of Panama. We'll get all of, like, the Bahamas and where Puerto Rico is and that whole thing here. And then we'll just draw the line right there, right above the South American continent. We'll get that, but that'll be later.
Is the border. Many people think of the U.S.-Mexico border as a lawless wasteland that needs to be blocked off. However,
it needs to be
this image
integrated.
neglects the tremendous value of the permeable
Integrated, not blocked off. Come on, man.
relationship between the U.S. and Mexico. In 2014, Zion predicted that Mexico would become the United States' greatest ever economic partner. He considered the bilateral energy relationship of American natural gas exported to Mexico while Mexican crude is shipped north. He pointed out the trade partnerships, the millions of legal immigrants, and the opportunities
Thank you for specifying legal. I appreciate it.
for economic integration due to the relatively low cost of Mexican labor compared
Again, make Mexico part of the United States, then there's no need for immigration. We can, look, you want to tear down the wall? Make Mexico a state.
to the rising cost of American labor. If you'd like to know how Zion's prediction has played out, you can watch my episode on modern manufacturing in the Texas-Mexico axis using the link in the description. Despite the value of moving across the border,
Texas right now.
can it be effectively secured? It's 2,000 miles
Hey, Mexico might be a good spot for that gigantic solar farm that Elon Musk wants. I'm just saying.
long. Mexico can't secure it by themselves. An American policy on deportation is probably not as intimidating as the poverty and danger that people who cross the border are fleeing in the first place. So, regardless of the energy, trade,
People are so desperate to get out of Mexico that they are coming to the United States illegally and staying here, working for pennies on the dollar, just because it's still a better opportunity. Like, we're doing that. This is not American expansionism is not a bad thing. Okay, at this point, we're just expanding into other places to give these other places a better life. Come on now. Even if you're just selfish, even if you're just wanting to be, let's say, empathetic, okay? It comes from either end of the perspective. This is a good thing no matter how you look at it.
Labor or legal arguments regarding the border, it's unlikely that the border will be effectively secured in the near future. Reason number 4 is that
Oh boy, this video was made 8 months ago. Listen, Tom Homan's doing a great job, all right? They're painting the wall black because fuck you, all right?
this war is different. Zion compares the modern drug war to the drug war of the 20th century, portrayed in TV shows like Miami Vice. But the days of Miami Vice are gone.
Dude, my mom is in the other room right now watching Criminal Minds, and I was having a conversation with her earlier talking about how Criminal Minds and like CSI and NCIS and like all of those shows, they're all the exact same, and they're all fucking dumb, man. I can't stand these shows. Oh, it starts out with them talking about some sort of bullshit, having some dialogue between the group, making them more personable for you guys, showing you that, oh, they're just like you, and then they show up to some sort of tragic fucking crazy thing that happened, and then there's always the one guy that's like making stupid jokes with some dude to get burned alive, and then he'll take his sunglasses off and he's like, wow, he must have really got burned, or dang, he's having a hot day. Something crazy like that. They're dumb shows. Every episode is exactly the same as the last, and you can't convince me otherwise.
Miami is a port city, and one of the themes of Peter's writing is the valuable efficiency of transport over water. And it makes sense that transporting drugs over water is attractive for a business that wants to keep its prices down.
Did you say transporting drugs over water? Hold on a minute.
And it makes sense that transporting drugs over water is attractive for a business that wants to keep its
I told you. Mexico's greatest export is drugs.
Prices down. The thing is, America is a maritime power and highly successful at patrolling.
World's largest navy and the world's first and second largest air force. Yeah, no, we are in control.
The coastlines. I've personally flown an aircraft.
In Mexico, you have an opportunity to be part of it. I'm just saying.
For the United States Coast Guard, and their operators and equipment are extremely effective. So, transport over water is a high-risk operation for the drug business. But remember, that's only
so much more high risk now that Trump is done with these guys and he's just bombing them. She's saying, fuck it, don't transport drugs over the water. And they keep trying, and he keeps blowing up their boats. Like, he sent the Navy down there. Like, they're just off the coast of Mexico, blowing up cartel boats. You can't convince me that we couldn't fix Mexico so fast. Like, the moment Mexico decides they want to become part of the United States, or the moment Trump decides that he wants to take Mexico over, be it fucking militarily, whatever, I don't care. We could do it. Give us a couple of months and it's over. We're done. We're in the litigation phase.
Only important if you're trying to keep prices down. If you have a product where your customer is not price sensitive, like drugs, then you can afford to take on different challenges. And land transport is challenging. It is complicated by middlemen, regulations, infrastructure, stops, and many other things that don't exist on a big, flat ocean. And this means the shippers become involved in a process that can hit bottlenecks, such as a border crossing, where competition for the route will erupt. This competition drives up costs, making for a lot of money needed and potentially available in the drug business.
See, capitalism's even good for the drug business.
This makes large,
Meanwhile, we got whole ass groups of people, the Communist fucking Party of America. Man, fuck these guys.
Well-funded drug.
Definitely follow me on X. I yell at those bastards all the time, man.
Organizations inevitable.
I call out all the retards.
These organizations have a lot to fight over, so they will function like a highly competitive business in 3 ways. A, they will diversify horizontally by engaging in similar activities such as robbery, cargo theft, kidnapping, and transporting other forms of drugs. B, they will diversify up the supply chain.
Yep.
Cartels will pursue control of drug production.
Mm-hmm.
In cocaine, that means penetrating systems in countries like Colombia, Peru, and Bolivia.
That's why we're blowing them up.
C. They will expand down the supply chain. Cartels will seek to influence the American drug distribution networks. Where they go, so goes the competition. The violent conflicts between cartels and American gangs are discussed in more detail in the 10 Years On edition of The Accidental Super.
I saw somewhere someone say there are more than 100,000 gangs in Chicago alone. I don't know how true that is, but it was some dude saying it to a reporter. So he was a darker skinned fellow, so I would imagine he knows what he's talking about.
Superpower. You can get the book using the link in the description. Examine this shift from Miami Vice-style maritime drugs transport to Sicario-style land transport, and you will see a very different drug war. But who will the cartels recruit to work in their criminal organizations?
Probably
that leads
people
us to
whose
reason number
family they're
5.
holding hostage.
Illegal immigrants. The nexus between illegal immigrants and illegal drugs may be different than you think.
It's not.
When illegals don't have access to banking systems, they operate in a cash economy.
That's
when
correct.
they are robbed, they are less likely to report crimes for fear of being discovered themselves.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like they can come over here, they can work for pennies on the dollar because they're just getting cash under the table, and they can't fucking complain about it because what are they gonna do? They're gonna tell the cops, oh hey, I'm not supposed to be here, but also this guy's not paying me enough.
This makes illegals extremely vulnerable and extremely
Look, the empathetic thing to do is for Mexico to become a member of the United States of America, okay? Join the Union. I want a state of Peru. I want a well, that's in fucking South America. Really. I want a state of Chihuahua, all right? I want a state of Baja California. I want a state of Mexico. I want a state of all the other things that are down there that I don't know because I'm an uncultured swine.
Attractive targets for robberies and can leave them poor. Peter Zion points out that Mexican and Central American illegals exist in areas for people who live outside of normal social support networks. These areas are known as ghettos. These ghettos are normal.
Why is he gonna say it like that, dude? Like he's telling a horror story. Hold on, I'm backing that up. Oh my god. All right.
Targets for robberies and
hit me with it, Brandon. Or Brad, sorry.
Leave them poor. Peter Zion points out that Mexican and Central American illegals exist in areas for people who live outside of normal social support.
Exist in areas for people who live outside of normal and social support
networks. These areas are known as ghettos.
As ghettos. Oh God, no. Oh my God. Oh man, Brad, you're awesome. I love this. I love this so much.
These ghettos are normalized in America as large communities in major cities that live outside of the protection of law enforcement because policing is less effective without local participation and without financial monitoring because there are no banking data on these.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just gonna say it, yeah, the ghettos suck. They do, man. Like, and unfortunately, there's lots of people that are grow up poor that live in like ghettos and they live in like rundown housing and stuff like that, like in a poorer community or in like some slum lords fucking crazy apartment that's like $300 a month, but there's roaches and shit or whatever. Unfortunately, that's just the life for some people, and policing doesn't fucking help there because they hate the fucking cops, and unfortunately most of these people vote for Democrats, and that's the reason that a lot of them have lives like this, unfortunately. But yeah, no, I mean, making Mexico part of the United States would definitely get rid of some of their ghettos down there. I'm not going to say that it would get rid of all of them, but I mean, it would definitely increase the quality of life for enough people down there that some of those ghettos would get turned into like luxury hotel resorts and stuff, right? So like, just take into consideration, if it's a ghetto that has nice scenery, it's not going to be a ghetto for long once it's a U.S. state, right? So just to take that into consideration. But also, yeah, no, ghettos suck, and this is great.
In these ghettos, the illegals speak the same language as cartel members, and they are vulnerable targets for recruitment into the drug industry.
Oh no!
These recruits give the cartels a network of people inside U.S. borders. Pair this with the cartel's ability to inflict violence on American criminal organizations with what might appear to be gang-on-gang attacks, and you can see the clear path the cartels have been using, and will continue to use, to penetrate major American cities in order to expand their criminal organizations down the supply chain and directly into the American drug distribution network.
Okay.
That leads us to reason number 6, America's greatest. Pair this with the cartel's ability to inflict violence on American criminal organizations with what might appear to be gang-on-gang attacks, and you can see the clear path the cartels have been using, and will continue to use, to penetrate major American cities in order to expand their criminal organizations down the supply chain and directly into the American drug distribution network. That leads us to reason number 6.
Okay.
America's greatest threat.
Yeah. Okay, what do we
The
got?
Mexican drug war is already here in the United States.
It is.
Zion proposes that the solution could be in legalization. No, not legalization of drugs. That's probably a wash, because any problems avoided by not policing drugs could be offset by problems of higher healthcare costs and decreased work productivity. No, it's the legalization of immigration that might help. A greater opening of the border through worker and travel permits could transform the Spanish-speaking ghettos discussed in reason number 5.
That's not true. We've had a pretty open border for the last fucking 50 years, and all that it has happened is that the cartels have used it to send criminals into this country in order to sell more fucking drugs to the U.S. people, right? Like there's definitely been some people that have come over here because they wanted a better life, but for the most part, it's just been taken advantage of by the cartels. And I'm sorry, making it harder to come into this country might not seem like a good thing, but it definitely is a good thing. I mean, we don't want to be just accepting foreign terrorists like all the Islamic assholes that are wanting to literally tear down the government. I'm just saying. They don't want you to own a dog as a pet because it's bad for some reason. Allah doesn't like dogs, I guess. Or whatever. Meanwhile, fucking their prophet Muhammad married a 6-year-old, but you fucking, what do I know? Anyway, so yeah, no. Counterpoint. Just make Mexico a state. Or a series of states, and then we don't have to have a border. We can just put the border down at the Panama Canal. You know, just a thought.
Into areas where people with legitimate identification could store their money in banks. Police cooperation in these neighborhoods could be quickly increased, and anti-money laundering tools would finally have data to work with. This would make these areas less vulnerable to crime and make the people who live there less susceptible to recruitment by the cartels.
Or, if they become a state and are now subject to U.S. laws, they would be criminalized and prosecuted subject to U.S. laws, and a lot of what they do would land them in jail.
It is not a panacea, but it is an interesting idea. Zion writes that if this problem is not solved, the conflict with the cartels will be not only horrible, like the Iraq War, but also fought right here in our home country.
I don't think it would be that horrible, if I'm being honest. Like I said, I think we could do it in a matter of a couple of months. It's not going to be anything like the Iraq War, because this one will actually have a stated goal, right? Before the U.S. gets into a war, they should ask themselves, okay, what does victory look like? What is our goal here, right? And as long as they establish that, then they should be able to come up with a plan that will get them that goal. But if the plan is just sustained war, like it was in Iraq and Iran, then, or more accurately, let's say global policing, because we were just in the region to police it and protect our oil refineries and shit like that, I would imagine. So, yeah, if the U.S. was to invade Mexico with the stated purpose of taking it over and integrating it into the Union, then it would take a couple of months max, if I'm just being honest.
Zion says that more than Russia, China, or Iran, the Mexican drug war is the greatest geopolitical threat to the American way of life.
Yes, it is. That's why Trump closed the border and
that
is
leads
now
us to reason number
bombing
7,
their
the
ships.
10 years on perspective. On page 314 of his newest book, Peter explains that the American illicit drug industry is now worth over $150 billion per year. meaning a very high death rate and the lowest life expectancy in the developed world. He connects this industry to the work of cartels in Mexico and explains that El Chapo was a very business-like leader of his cartel and spread to the US for distribution and South America for production. As of Peter's writing, El Chapo is in jail, and a new cartel, Jalisco New Generation, has risen through violence, but not yet monopolized any border crossing. However, if they succeed, they will bring violence to the U.S. and cause friction.
They will not succeed. This video was made 8 months ago, so this was like really before Trump was on a roll with his shit. But yeah, no, they absolutely will not succeed. The border is stronger now than ever, and I think that we reached a point now where we don't have any crossings at all, or any illegal crossings, rather, as far as we know. And like I said, Trump's already taken care of the drug problem. So all we got to do now is just integrate Mexico into the Union, and we'll be good to go, right? It'll be good for the Mexicans. It will be good for us.
In U.S.-Mexico relations. For Americans who find Zion's writing too comforting, consider that this would also jeopardize America's most important trade partnership. Zion says, quote, "Worry about that."
I'm not sure how important necessarily it is, but, yeah, sure, why not? Okay, yeah, so if it's, let's say it is important, okay, let's look at the U.S.-Mexico relationship. What are we looking at exactly here, right? Okay, so Mexico and the United States have a complex history with the war in the 1840s, the U.S.-Mexico War, where, U.S. took half of Mexico's land and said, fuck it, you can keep that part down there because it's a little hot, we might want it later. And now is later, all right? Let's do it. Let's do it now. Okay, yada, yada. Subsequent American acquisition of more than 50%. Like I said, boom, more than 50% of the former Mexican territory, including Texas, Arizona, California, New Mexico, yada, yada, yada. Pressure from Washington was one of the factors that helped forcing the French invaders out of the 1860s. The Mexican Revolution in the 1910s saw many refugees flee north, and limited American invasions. Okay, cool. Yada, yada, yada. The long border between the two countries means that peace and security in that region are important in the U.S. national security and international trade. The U.S. and Mexico are each other's largest trading partner as of 2030. Oh, okay, so it is, all right, so it is, super important. Okay, cool. The U.S. and Mexico are each other's largest trading partner as of 2023, and in 2010, Mexico's exports totaled $309 billion U.S. dollars, and almost 3/4 of those purchases were made by the United States. All right, cool. So in 2023, Mexico made $309 billion U.S. dollars, and 3/4 of that came from exports directly to the United States. Right, yeah. America's largest trading, bargaining chip is its consumer base, right? Because America's not the most populous country, but it does have the most, we'll call, disposable income. So, people have money that they can spend that isn't on necessarily essentials, right? So, just that's what Trump is using more or less in his trading arguments. If you want to trade in America, you're going to pay us X amount, and that's why the tariffs are working. But you don't have to be, if you're a state, you don't get tariffed. That's all I'm saying. Mexico, join us. While condemning the terrorist... Wait, no, where am I at? In 2010, Mexico's exports totaled... Okay, so that was in 2010. Sorry, not in 2023. They are also closely connected demographically with over 1 million U.S. citizens living in Mexico, and Mexico being the largest source of immigrants to the United States. Legal and illegal. With about 8 to 10 million Mexican immigrants in the United States of America. And some of them are getting thrown right the fuck out because they're not supposed to be here. It seems like we're already pretty interconnected. It wouldn't be too awful crazy for Mexico to just become a damn state. That's all I'm saying. Jeez. Whoops. Okay, so fast forward to today. Let's see what's going on. Let's see. Trump admin pulls visas from 50 Mexican officials in an effort to crush the drug cartels? What? You mean Trump's trying to make Mexico a better place? Oh, that's awesome. That's great. That'll be great whenever it becomes a state. Let's see what's going on here.
U.S. Armed Forces carrying out a fourth successful strike on a drug boat off the coast of Venezuela. The president posting on Truth Social that the boat had enough drugs to kill 25 to 50,000 people. This comes after the U.S. conducted 3 previous strikes last month. Let's bring in cartel expert.
I told you, he's blowing up ships.
Katrina Schultz. Katrina,
absolutely
what do you
based.
make
Love Trump.
of
Love
this
him.
fourth strike now? Clearly, the Trump administration has designated many of these cartels as FTOs, foreign terrorist organizations, like Sinaloa, like New Jalisco, and of course in Venezuela.
Yeah, you kill a bunch of U.S. citizens, either directly or indirectly, and you're going to get designated a foreign terrorist organization, especially when you're like literally killing people.
We have seen under the dictator there, Nicolas Maduro, a direct connection to these narco-terrorists.
So initially, when President Donald Trump and this administration designated these cartels as foreign terrorist organizations in January, I was under the impression, like many, that the focus would be on Mexico, on the Sinaloa.
Can we talk about how fast Trump has been moving in his second term? I mean, we're in the 10th month of his presidency at this point, and so much has happened. Oh my God. I really do think that look, one of the 3 things that I talk about today, either it be Mexico or Greenland or Canada, or like, I really do think that by the end of Trump's presidency, we're going to have a 51st state, or it's going to be a de facto 51st state, or however that goes. America is freaking back, baby, and we are going to expand, and we are going to take over the world, and I am not even apologetic about it. I don't care. Absolutely. Manifest destiny. Hell yeah.
The Sinaloa cartel, the Jalisco New Generation cartel. But what we're actually seeing is the focus is very much concentrated in Venezuela. And it checks out because Cartel de los Soles is allegedly led by Nicolas Maduro. Tren de Aragua has been a problem for the United States for quite a while at this point. And so this focus has been very concentrated in Venezuela, and particularly on these boats that the administration is saying are narco-trafficking vessels. There is a bit of contention with this, as typically we don't really see large numbers of individuals on these marine trafficking operations. But if for a fact these are drug trafficking operations, the U.S. is not backing down. And they're kind of showing who holds the power here.
No, yeah, I mean, look, Trump said if you keep doing this, we're going to blow up your ships. They kept doing it, and now he's blowing up your ship. I don't know what you want from him, okay? He has to do this to protect the American people, okay? If you want this to stop, become a U.S. state and make all this bullshit illegal anyway.
In Venezuela, in Mexico.
He's going to clean up the country, and then he's going to make it bigger. And Mexico should be a part of that.
And really, when it comes to any cartel, any drug cartel that has been labeled a foreign terrorist organization.
Right, Katrina, and that's exactly what I want to drill into, because whether in Mexico you're the head of the Sinaloa or the New Jalisco or the Noreste cartels, or in Venezuela, the Cartel de los Soles, which is what Maduro has been linked to, and the offshoot, which has become Tren de Aragua, do you think they are receiving a message clearly from the Trump administration, and what is that message?
They're certainly receiving a message. I mean, when the FTO designation first happened, that executive order came out, I went and spoke with members of Mexican drug cartels in Mexico. And
she's got larger balls than me, man. I don't want to talk to those guys.
Hearing a lot of was, we're just going to wait it out during this administration. We just have to wait till the dust settles, there's a new administration, and they can continue operations as normal. But that notion has changed, especially over recent weeks. There have been certain actions, whether it's literally blowing up these vessels.
Yeah, he is. Hell yeah.
Saying that, you know what, the U.S. is going to engage in military action, boots on the ground in Mexico. But these actual tangible actions we're seeing from the administration is somewhat changing the perception for a lot of these drug cartels.
Katrina Schultz, thank you very much for that insight. And I agree. I think a message is being heard loud and clear by those narco terrorists bringing deadly drugs to our U.S. border. Katrina, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, the message is America doesn't fuck around. That's the message. Hell yeah, brother. All right, so let's look at the current Mexico-U.S.-China relations, right? Which is odd, something that we need to discuss, because the European Institute for International Relations on October 19th, which is pretty damn recently, said that Mexico's role in, well, hang on, let's see, recent international developments are causing the geopolitical landscape to change drastically, and at the center of the transition lies the economic rivalry between the U.S. and China. Basically, what this article says is that the U.S. and China are fighting over Mexico. Now, I don't know why they would be doing that, given how close Mexico is to the United States, and how we all know Trump is not at all going to let that happen. A major advantage for Mexico is its geopolitical position as a neighbor to the United States, like I said, which can make it an attractive manufacturing hub for U.S. industries. Yeah, a lot of the cars in America were originally, anyway, made in Mexico and then transported up here to be, like, assembled, right? We have a bunch of assembly plants here, but we don't have any manufacturing plants. All that's done in Mexico because we can fucking pay them pennies on the dollar. So yeah, well, until Trump decided to put the tariffs on, and now, like, all that's moving back to America because America first, goddammit. So additionally, the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement, which has strengthened economic ties amongst the three countries, has made Mexico an enticing opportunity for foreign direct investment. American and European companies are increasingly looking to Mexico for manufacturing solutions. Like I said, a lot of manufacturing plants are in Mexico, seeking to mitigate risks associated with China's supply chain disruptions and yada, 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 right? So basically, with us no longer using China for a lot of our manufacturing base, with the world no longer using China for a lot of its manufacturing base because they can't, like, do business with America if they do, we're looking toward Mexico to be a new manufacturing hub, which could be good for Mexico, absolutely. Definitely needs to become part of the United States first, so yeah, whatever. But Mexico is a good opportunity for the United States, and that's kind of what I wanted to point out with this, right? So, in conclusion, if Mexico wants to fully capitalize on the current geopolitical situation, it must implement pragmatic and forward-thinking policies like becoming part of the United States of America. A comprehensive security strategy, infrastructure development, which they would get both the minute they become a state. They would get the best security, the best infrastructure, the minute they become a state. And a balanced trade approach will allow... Yeah. They would have an awesome trade approach. Trump is the best. The best on foreign policy. Maybe better than anybody. I mean, that's what they say. He doesn't say that. They say that. It will not only benefit from nearshoring, but it will also reshape the position in its international order, reinforcing its role as a key actor in the increasingly multipolar world. Yep, absolutely. And they should become part of the United States immediately to better their lives and to get all of the things that Mexico needs to actually become a fucking global power. Like, take California, for example. California is much smaller than Mexico in terms of landmass, right? If Mexico were to become a state, it would overtake California in terms of GDP, and it would become probably the, I would say, what is it, like the third or fourth largest fucking producing thing on the planet? Because California, just because of its manufacturing base, more or less, and the ports, has become the fifth largest economy on the planet. Surpassing many countries. And so if Mexico were to become a state, it would surpass even California because we would probably kick all of our manufacturing right back down to Mexico because why the hell wouldn't we? We'd probably grow a lot of shit, or much more than we already do in Mexico in terms of agricultural. So yeah, no, Mexico is a pretty big global leader in a lot of different things. But they're only going to be able to capitalize on it if they become part of the United States. So this person, somebody has already been talking about making Mexico the 51st state. And it's not just Trump, okay? So This person, John Barnitz, he wrote this article in June of 2006. So this is a pretty old article. This has been something that people have been talking about for a while, and we need to just pull the trigger on it, if I'm being honest. Your immigration story, apprehension, quoted U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, blah, 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 blah. Where are we at? Okay, so a tentative solution on the immigration problem. Annex. So this is talking about how we could solve the immigration problem in the United States, right? So a tentative solution would be annex the country of Mexico as a state of old Mexico. Yeah, right. We could do that. We could make it a state, thus bringing to the logical conclusion the war with Mexico. Yeah, no, I already told you. Take everything to its logical conclusion. There's going to be exactly one country or exactly one organization that will control the planet whenever we're colonizing others, right? Whenever we're on the moon with a base, whenever we're on Mars with a base, there's not going to be a need for there to be 200 different nations on this planet, okay? It's going to end up getting smaller, and eventually there's going to be one. That's the logical conclusion. And the logical conclusion needs to be the United States of America. And Mexico is already so close to becoming a state, we need to just make it happen, okay? So, these are some things that would immediately happen, resulting in the... So the problem with illegal immigration disappears, or at least they will no longer be aliens, right? Yeah, see? They immediately become citizens because the Mexico is now a member of the United States. Mexican oil production becomes American oil production, which is good for Mexico, given that we would be able to pump much more, because Mexico doesn't have the money to do the things that they did. They already have a pretty large oil base. But, I mean, they can't take full advantage of it, right? Because they don't have access to American technology and American, the amount of money that America can throw at a problem like that, right? The new border along the Panama Canal, this is what I'm fucking saying, dude. Take it all the way to Panama, man. Will be much shorter, thus requiring fewer patrol agents. That's right. We'll probably have the Coast Guard down there because, well, there's a lot of water. But we wouldn't have to have so large of an immigration and customs enforcement agency, because the border would be much smaller. I think, what's the Panama Canal, like 2-3 miles wide, or maybe I'm talking out of my ass there, but I'm pretty sure it's not really all that wide. Border patrol agents, now surplus due to a shorter border, will be available for state police within the state of Old Mexico. Okay, see, here we go. We're already planning on and arming up the police and increasing the police presence so that we can get rid of all these damn drug cartels and make Mexico a much better place from the beginning. Man, why is this? It's not a bad thing. I'm just saying. A large pool of manpower will become available for the military duty in Iraq, Kosovo, Iran, North Korea, etc., etc. Also, a large pool of manpower will become immediately available for manufacturing that will be going on in Mexico. And, yeah, they'll also get paid a whole lot more money because we wouldn't be able to pay them pennies on the dollar anymore. I'm just saying. Okay, so that's that. There's one... This is the last thing I want to cover in terms of Mexico. Let me get rid of these. Okay, so this is what if Mexico were to join the United States. This is Valuetainment on YouTube. Definitely go and subscribe to them. Definitely, like this video if you can see it. I'm showing you right now. You have plenty of time to look at the screen. You have plenty of time to go to their YouTube page and do all the things. Okay. Let's see what they have to say about what if Mexico joined the United States. I think it's a good idea. Let's see what they think.
Let me pose a crazy question to you, because I've always, Pat, I've literally wanted to get your take on this. I don't think I've ever asked you this at lunch.
Okay.
Could you ever see...
Bro, what is up with your books in the background? Is that just like how it's supposed to be? Like, why? That is a crazy bookshelf. Oh my God.
Us annexing or in any
Also, you can't hide it. I see the Batman suit back there. All right, I see you.
way making Mexico
Boy, I'm getting a lot of value out of this entertainment. All right.
a state.
Yeah, I think that would solve a lot of problems. That was
Oh,
actually
PBD.
Go ahead.
No, how?
How what?
Like, how would we do it?
The way you do it is
We love PBD.
similar to what we did with Texas. Texas decided to join what?
That's what I'm talking about. See, it's not unprecedented, okay? Texas has been a member or was its own country before it became a member of the United States. It's not unprecedented for us to be able to integrate another country. I'm just saying. We know how to do it. We just need to do it.
Texas wasn't part of this. They decided. Yeah. Why did they decide? What is the one thing that's different about Texas than any other state in America?
It is its own republic.
It's its own republic. Yep. So if U.S. decides to bully Texas, Texas can simply do what? Okay, we're separating and we're going to be our own country. Texas is the only state that can do that. I
see no reason why other countries that get integrated into the Union can't have all the same rules that Texas has.
Go to Mexico and pitch the same exact opportunity to them.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. Make Mexico the 51st state?
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
This was 5 years ago, by the way, okay? This is not an old idea. This is not a new idea, all right? It's a very old idea of making Mexico part of the United States, and we need to just do it, okay? Trump, make this happen.
No, true.
Blowing my mind.
All the world is a game of risk, and America needs to win.
Over here. We make Mexico the 51st state. Forget about putting a wall up. Now you're our citizens. And you become a state. It's the 51st state called Mexico.
Could you imagine Trump accomplishing that? Could you imagine Donald Trump saying, I've changed my mind. We're not building a wall. We're going to build a bridge, okay? And we're going to call you the USA. I now have more beachfront property. It's a great acquisition.
You see Trump doing that?
Dude, I think Trump would do that in a heartbeat.
What's our current relations with Mexico right now under Trump?
By the way, there's a lot of people. There's more people that would benefit in Mexico than people in the U.S. People in Mexico.
Yeah, no, the quality of life in the U.S. would drop slightly, not by much. Just like the. Now that said, those figures are pulled before you take into consideration the extra income that would be coming in from the fact that Mexico is now a part of the United States. So, like, it doesn't take into consideration any of the new infrastructure that would be built in Mexico. So, realistically, the number would probably be higher and the American quality of life would probably increase. But in terms of just, like, figures that you can put down on a paper with, like, real-world numbers and not, like, speculation and stuff like that, the American population as a whole would slightly decrease in its quality of life. So let's say like 80 to 60, basically, like say 80% good quality of life down to like maybe a 60 or something like that. And Mexico would increase from like 10 or 20% good quality of life to 60. It would like equal itself out, right? So just like keep that in mind. It's good for Mexico. America will take a slight hit, but only as like a transitionary period until the infrastructure in Mexico gets built up, that it starts actually adding to the U.S. GDP, and like everything that was originally averaged out, well, it will go right back up, and it'll probably get to like a 90% quality of life, a good quality of life for everybody.
Mexico would love for that to become a reality.
Oh, for sure.
They would love for that to become a reality. You know how many problems it would solve? You're talking about trade agreements, forget about it.
Yeah.
You're talking about safety, forget about it.
Yeah.
You're talking about access to U.S. military, forget about it. You're talking about economy and companies moving headquarters to Mexico, forget about it. You're talking about sports, athletes, scholarship, education. In every possible way, it benefits Mexico.
Does that benefit the Democrats or the Republicans if 50 million Mexicans
No,
show
it benefits
up?
the Democrats.
You think the Republicans are going to go for that?
That's okay. That's okay. All right, we'll get them. We'll change them.
Why though? Do you know why that? Do you know why it benefits the Democrats?
Because they're going to vote for the Democrats.
Because there are more low-income people in Mexico than high-income earners. So of course they're going to vote more Democrats. So if Trump was able to pull that off, they would still vote Democrats, but it would benefit Mexico tremendously.
I vehemently disagree.
Tell me.
Living in Mexico, these people are very, very principled when it comes to things like abortion.
Ooh, would we get a new state of Republicans? Add like 100 million Republicans. That's how many people are in Mexico, right? Like 100 million or so, something like that. Add like 100 million new Republicans. Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
When it comes to they're super strong Catholic. So it's Catholic, Christian, there's nothing else. I think that a lot of Hispanic people in America have been Americanized, but when you actually go over there, these people They do not want strong federal government.
There's a lot of Catholics in Mexico, right? Like there's a lot of people are going to have these religious values that are pretty similar to what American Christians have, I would imagine. So yeah, no, I don't think they would like at least the current Democrat Party. I mean, I think he might have a point, actually.
Government. They are scared of strong federal government. I believe that the Republicans can make a very strong case that we want to give you more personal freedom, and I think the Hispanic community would buy it.
Josh, if I had a buzzer right now, I'd be like, wrong answer. I just don't see that happening. After current relationship that Trump has done, they're coming over.
In some worlds,
they're raping our children, and then some, I guess, are good people. His famous quote: "You think they're just going to all of a sudden vote for Trump? Come on."
The Republicans suck at marketing. They really suck at marketing, especially to the Hispanic community.
Not anymore. Again, this was 5 years ago, but like right now, we are fucking on it. Trump gained in the Mexican population in the last election.
If the Republicans were good marketers, they would get the black and the Hispanic vote.
So let me give you some stats. Because what you just did right there is called reaching. You were reaching.
Yes.
That wasn't good.
The people in the comment section tend to agree with me.
The people in the comment section can say whatever they want to say until their stats. They can say they can say what they want to say. And I'm glad you guys think that way and agree with our buddy.
Hey. I respect chat. I don't have one, but the people that do have one, they have people to talk to. I'm talking to myself. It's fine. It's fine. But, you know, it's nice to have people to talk to every now and then.
But let me give you some stats. Here's stats from The Atlantic, okay? The Atlantic. Latino support for Trump is real. However, in 2016 election, 66% of Latinos voted for Democrats. 66% of Latinos.
And the number's climbing.
Hold on. So what you're really saying is that 40 or
34.
So 34% didn't. Okay, and it goes back to Republicans being horrible marketers, because when you actually sit Hispanic
could be a
people
fair
down,
point.
now,
Could be a fair point.
People don't realize I actually
That's
travel.
Two different discussions, by the way. That's two different topics. He asked the question saying, would that benefit Republicans or Democrats? My answer was it's going to benefit the Democrats. Your conversation is about how Republicans are bad marketers, which I agree with, but we're talking about right off the bat.
Their
it favors the
values
Democratic
align
Party.
more with Republicans.
There's no question. I mean, the values of African American grandmas and parents aligns with.
We talked about that stat earlier. We talked about the fact that 90% of African Americans vote Democrat.
Adam needs a new nickname. Adam, the stat sauce name.
I'll take it.
He likes stats. Okay. So, anyways, again, if that were to happen, it would actually be very, very interesting. If that were to happen, the United States of America adds an.
I don't even care. I don't care if they come over and they vote more Democrat. That's fine. I don't really give a shit. It's about the expansion of the American empire and nothing more for me.
Additional state.
But I do think they will eventually wise up and start voting Republican, particularly the ones that are Catholic, because a lot of the ones that... So you got to think, a lot of those ones that he's talking about that are Republican probably aren't leaving Mexico. They're not the ones that are leaving and coming over here, right? They're the ones that are staying because they like their country. They have a good life. They have a house. They go to fucking Catholic mass or whatever it's called, right? Oh, that's weird. It's an R. But anyway, yeah, no. So I think once we make Mexico a state, I think there will actually be a lot of Republicans. There probably will also too be a lot of Democrats, but I think a lot of them will become Republican, and that's fine. And whether they're Democrats or Republicans, it doesn't matter, because ultimately it's about the expansion of America and not the expansion of the Republican Party.
Mexico. No borders, no nothing.
Let's have a vote.
You got a new state out. By the way,
well, we do have a border. It's just at the Panama Canal now.
How many of you guys can actually see that becoming a reality?
Me.
How many of you guys
I can see
actually
that. Yes, me.
see that becoming a reality?
Me.
Who can
Over
actually
here.
see that becoming
I can
a
see
reality?
that.
Think about it from logistical purposes. When we were making Alaska a state, what year was that? Maybe in the 50s? Hawaii a state? What year was that? Can I get a year, Kai?
I think 60s.
I'm guessing in the 50s, give or take.
I think the 60s.
Those places are not even touching U.S. borders. Not even touching U.S. borders.
Do not offend our Alaskan community, by the way. They're very committed people, and they're probably
It's the number one state for low taxes.
They're
Number one.
furious with you. They're coming.
There's
By the way,
not
if
very
you're
many
trying to find
people
out
that
where
live
he lives,
there.
he lives at the local Ritz-Carlton. seven.
Also, most of Alaska is like inhospitable territory, and if you live there, they'll pay you. They will pay you to live there.
Room number
That's not true.
728.
Save that money. Save that money.
Hey,
1959. Okay. And what year
I
did
said
Hawaii
60.
come a state? Okay. What year did Hawaii come a state?
Really?
Kai?
Wow,
59,
Alaska.
same time.
15, okay, and that was a
Shit.
reach. I mean, that's not even touching. So Mexico, not so.
So you're for it. So you are for
Dude, when my grandparents were born, the United States only had 49 states. Jeez. And actually, no, 48 technically, because they were born before 1959. So, dude, that's crazy.
Mexico.
I'm saying that it's really close.
Why don't you use your networking abilities to get on the Trump camp and work directly with Jared Kushner and Donald Trump Jr.
The chances
and
of
make
me
that happen?
joining
Yeah,
the
make it
Trump
happen,
camp,
baby.
Okay, let me get this straight. They contact you tomorrow saying we'd like you to join the camp.
Yeah, what? I mean, obviously he's going to. Why would he not do that? Oh, dude. Oh, yeah. No. Why wouldn't he do that? So yeah, that's if Mexico was to join the United States, which is absolutely fucking awesome, and they should. And again, this is not a new idea. This is not something that I came up with. It's just something that I am a staunch advocate for because I think America is the best one on the planet, and if there's gonna be one, it needs to be America. And Mexico is already so integrated with the United States that it would work perfectly. It wouldn't even be that much of a transition. It would be a transition for all the criminals that currently live in Mexico, because as soon as they're subject to U.S. laws and U.S. law enforcement, we're able to send people down there and actually start helping. Things are going to change fucking immediately. But as of right now, that's Mexico. They should become a member of the United States. Yeah, absolutely. Fuck yeah. Definitely subscribe to me on Rumble, unless you are tired of Rumble, and then subscribe to me on YouTube. Unless you're tired of that, and then go over to Rumble. I'm everywhere, okay? Follow me on X because I make based opinions, and I am a cool person to hang out with and talk to. So I will see you guys next week. Bye.